This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody. Joe Costello back with you, and it is the weekend. That's right. It's happy hour time here on WFO Radio, and the week is over. Whatever you were doing, forget it. It's done. Your productivity going down, and it's time for the weekend. And I know during this whole virus situation, the weekends haven't meant so much to a lot of people, but there's racing going on. Our friends at Galat are racing in PDRA. Last week we had NHRA at Texas Motorplex. We are reawakening, and it is going to be great. Still got to celebrate a little happy hour, and so we have gotten together one of the true greats on this show. I'm very excited. 4-time Nitro Champion Gary Scelzi, 3 in Top Fuel, 1 in Funny Car, one of the greats of all time in terms of driving, in terms of personality, characters. Everybody says we need more characters in the sport. Well, Gary was always a great character. And one of the reasons I like to think that I even wanted to be involved in NHRA drag racing, a guy like Gary Scelzi made it look so fun. And so on this show, we're going to have Gary just seconds from now. Now, I do want to tell you that it is brought to you by a couple of great sponsors who make it all possible, and also we can give you some free stuff. First of all, Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, about to drop a brand new episode of Hidden Horsepower, the podcast, but they are coming to a conclusion with their big 20% off, so you got to get in fast if you want to get that. Piston rings, tools, etc. Total Seal, big supporters of WFO Radio, and we really appreciate what they're doing. Frank and Lana Hawley, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, since the very beginning, one of our very first sponsors. Podcast, 10 years ago? And they've been on it and in on it for a long time. Really appreciate them. So you can get your alcohol funny car license. You can go on the Dragster Adventure, whatever you want to do. They've got classes going again. They're a little bit smaller, but Frank and Lana Hawley have been big supporters of WFO for a long, long time. Also, samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Start your education at full speed. CNC machining, motorsport EFI tuning, the next generation of crew chiefs. Guess where they're coming from? Samtech.edu. And maybe you don't even like racing, right? But you want a great education? Well, Racers can make sure you get that. And they can place you after the fact as well. Samtech.edu. And of course, finally, Marvin Rodak. Rodak's Coffee and Grills.com. Hot sauces and spice rubs and barbecue and everything great. He's a drag racer down there in Fort Worth, Texas, and he does us right. Also, real quick, if you want some free WFO Radio stickers, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to the address you see on your screen. P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida. And I will load that self-addressed stamped envelope with stickers and send it your way. But please make sure it's big enough to fit stickers. Somebody sent me like teeny tiny little envelope. And I was, what could I do? So I had to fill it with stickers. All right. Nobody cares about any of that stuff. What you care about is hearing from the man who joins us now, the 4-time champ, Gary Scelzi. Gary, welcome. Happy hour. How are you doing?
Joe, talk to me.
Happy, man. I'm happy you wanted to do this. I did not have to twist your arm very much. That's for sure. Why are you so, you're happy for Friday, I guess.
I am, but Joe, I really was excited about doing this show. I haven't done much drag race stuff. I haven't been to many drag races. I chase my kids around the country and do things like that. I haven't talked to Forrest. I haven't talked to Caps. Not in quite a while. I got a text from Del Worsham the other day, which was great to hear. But, we kind of had our own little clique, if you would, when we hung out back in the day. It sounds funny to say that now. But anytime there was a charity going on or anytime there was anything anybody had going on they needed a driver to go to, they were always the first to go. Del, Caps, Corey Mack. We always had fun doing dirt things and exhibition golf tournaments. Always just had a great time. It was always neat to let your hair down and hang around with a bunch of other racers.
Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. I have some surprise guests, and maybe more will materialize, right? Like I reached out to some because we're going to be doing this for, we schedule an hour, and then it goes a few minutes longer typically. And then I got to pull the plug because everyone's having a good time. But just to let you know, the way it's all working, we do have an audience live on Facebook, our WFO Radio Facebook page, and people can comment and give their thoughts about what our conversation is. And everybody seems very, very excited to have you on and have a Friday show. And part 2 is beverages. I got my mug. I took you for a beer guy. Like, what are we going to do? We did wine night with Tobler. We're going to have a beer with Scelzi. Am I right about that, or am I stereotyping you as a beer guy?
If I could show you around my office, there's probably 50 gallons of Crown Royal around here. I always start out with beer. It's funny, Joe, we start talking. When I started out with Alan Johnson, there you go.
Yeah.
Nice and cold.
I feel like Mel Allen, former broadcaster, who would pour beer. They used to drink beer on the air.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, Alan Johnson and Everett Johnson, John Rodak, they would fly from Santa Maria or Paso Robles to LAX. I would fly from Fresno to LAX because nobody flies out of Fresno. Planes land here if they're going to run out of fuel or something. That's about the only time. Back in that day, in 97. So we would fly and go to the Admirals Club, which is American Airlines if you got a lot of miles, or I forget what it costs to go in there. Nice little private club. And the bartender there had won awards for Bloody Marys. So, I was so excited to drive for Alan and Everett and Agnes. I mean, they were great people. They took great care of me at the beginning, and I'll always have. Still lifelong friends. But anyway, we'd go there, and they would drink these Bloody Marys that the bartender got awards for. So, so you have a couple Bloody Marys, and now you're starting to feel pretty good. It's 6 in the morning, by the way. Get on the plane, and so Alan would upgrade me to first class because at that time, when you got a lot of miles, you could get stickers to upgrade. So we'd always leave on Wednesdays or Thursdays, always had open spots. So then you get on the plane, and when you start to get the buzz on, you switch to beer.
All right.
It's all new to me. So we switched to beer, and like 2 hours into the flight, I'm done. And everything was judged by, we go to Atlanta. Ooh, that's a 3 6-packs to get to Atlanta. Well, it's not in Atlanta, it's in Commerce. Okay.
Oh.
You go to Seattle, that's only a 6-pack. That's close. So everything was judged by how much beer you could drink on the way. Well, it took me about 4 or 5 races to figure out that, man, I got to get a motorhome and get out of here, or I got to figure out how to, when I drink, throw it over my shoulder because these guys are true professionals. They thought you would sober up if you switched from the hard stuff to the beer. And so that kind of instituted me getting a motorhome later on in the year.
There you go. Well, Gary, let's start it off right. Cheers to you, my friend. Thank you for agreeing to do this.
I'm going to do water, Joe. I'm still at work.
It's 1:00 out west, everybody.
I know.
Gary,
nobody's going to fire me. I know that.
East Coasters like us, we get there first. That's it. We got to the finish line first. Simple as that. Now, your career really we got people out there on YouTube as well. Always start with a beer, gets here. What is it? Hard before beer, you're in the clear. Beer before hard, you're in the yard. That's the one that I remember. But there's beer before liquor, never sicker. There's a couple of those that hopefully keeps you from ending up in the yard. So it looks like I'm doing the right thing. But I was just doing some research, thinking about your career. Obviously, the Winston days, winning the 3 of 4 Top Fuel World Championships. But the way you fought your way into the sport through alcohol, starting off with sand drag racing, like typical kind of West Coast car person, mechanically inclined life. You're either in the deserts, you're a hot rodder, one or the other or both, and that was you.
It was. When I was a kid, I was a dirt bike rider, and I wanted to race dirt bikes. I wanted to race scrambles. I wasn't much of a motocross guy, but I liked scrambles.
Pedals, like BMX Bandits with Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
So my dad didn't want any part of it, and we didn't have much money while I was growing up, and I had a pretty crappy Yamaha 100, used one, kind of half-ass piece together. And the kids in the neighborhood that raced, my mom and dad lived in a cul-de-sac, and we'd go out to the field and we'd race, and I'd kick their ass. And one of the guys followed me home that owned a motorcycle shop, wanted to give me a bike, wanted me to go ride for him. And my dad, I thought we made it. I got a brand new bike. Guy's going to take me to the races, pay for all my leathers, everything.
Right.
Went home and had to meet my dad. My dad says, no goddamn way you're going to race a motorcycle. I thought, what? It's finally not going to cost us any money. And his big deal was, who's going to pay for the broken bones?
Right.
And I thought, well, shit, I'm not going to fall off of it. Of course, you're never going to crash.
Never.
But he wouldn't let me do it. And I'll tell you, to this day, it still stings that I never got to do the motorcycle thing. And my older brother, Mike, who's my partner, had a sand dragster, and I used to help him work on the car. And Alan Johnson used to race sand drags. Steve Faria used to race sand drags. Bruce McDowell used to race sand drags. Rick Hinkleman. A lot of the alcohol guys used to race sand drags. So that's where I met that whole clan. And then everybody quit racing sand drags and moved to asphalt, and I went with them.
Well, I think that's a good decision. Honestly, my father was the same way. And maybe there was something back in the day, the motorcycles maybe were less safe back in the day. Certainly, we look at the stuff Evil used to jump. It's crazy, like a brick. Now they're much better. But my father was the same. Like, don't do it. Don't get on a motorcycle. Why bother? You will get injured. And judging by the Supercross guys that I've hung out with, that's part of business over there. You will crash. You will heal. You will get back on. So maybe it was for the best.
Well, I'm sure it was. I'm not a big guy for pain. The race cars never scared me, although when I watch the videos of some of those crashes, they scare me now. But my kids always tease me. There was a situation that came up last year. Somebody wanted me to drive a one-race deal, a tribute to Darrell Russell, and I really considered it. But it was a one-race deal, and I wanted to be able to drive a car that was competitive. And I thought, you know what? If I come back for one race, basically it's my brother and I that run the company, and we've got 400 employees, and he's 74 years old, so pretty much it's just me. My kids are showing a little bit of interest in it, but, Dominic's 23, Giovanni just turned 18. They're not ready to run this place. And I thought, it's just probably not a good idea that I get the bug back again, so we kind of passed on it.
This really seems like responsibility talk. This sounds very responsible.
Joe, the truth is, I told my kids, I said, honestly, your old man used to have balls, now I've got raisins. It's a little bit different now. You think about stuff you never thought about before.
So before our guests start jumping on here, and I expect, in a few minutes, but let's talk about that because, do they know, they're very young still, 23 and 18, and they've got their own careers and they're doing their own things and they're doing very well. They've both won races this year. They're finding their way. So tell me, where they're going, what they're doing, and also, do they know and understand what a badass their dad was? Because kids, some kids don't care. Like, if your dad could be Frank Sinatra, you'd be like, no big deal. So what's it like?
They know. They were young. Dominic remembers a lot of it, but Giovanni was just a little guy. They remember, they hung out with the Procs. In fact, when Gio was living in Indy, he was living with Jimmy and Jill. And, that's like their second mom and dad. And what's really bitching is those kids grew up together since they were 1 or 2 years old, and they're still best of friends to this day. And Dominic knows, and they watch the videos and things like that. But, we don't talk a whole lot about it. I mean, when they heard I might get back in a top fuel car, they went nuts. It's, this is so bitching. Because now we know what it's about. But, back then, I got a million pictures of the kids riding in the tow vehicles and things like that. But they were young. The memory doesn't recall a lot. And now, like I say, if I really wanted to do it, I'd still be in good shape. And there's just not enough time. I chase those kids all over the country, run the company. It's just, I can't do it.
No,
not do it justice.
Well, and I wanted to make sure that I don't try to lure you back into drag racing. That's not what this is about. This is about hanging out with Gary and getting to see some of your old friends and all of that. But you're the one who keeps bringing it up. The last time you were at the track, you brought it up. We started a rumor together on the rail somewhere. That thing got legs for a little while. You're teasing people, Gary. At some point, you might have to do this. And the good news is you got Force out there, 70 years old. You got Greek out there, 105, I think he is. So
at least,
yeah, right. You still have time, is my point.
If I could go do it and devote time to it, and it was the right situation, I probably would. But I think I would change the outlook on how people look at it now. Nothing against the guys that we got now. I love Antron Brown. I love all these guys, but everybody's so corporate and kind of full of shit. Pardon my language.
Sure.
I mean, I was very lucky when I was with R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company that they said, hey, T. Wayne Robertson, who was the absolute best of all time, when he said I was allowed me to drive the car for Alan Johnson and Winston would sponsor me, he said, Scelzi, if you're pissed, I want you to be pissed. If you want to whip somebody's ass, say you want to whip somebody's ass. If you're happy and you want to take your clothes off and run around naked, do it. He said, because people on TV are either going to love you or they're going to hate you, but they're going to know it's you. And so I was always, I never had that worry. You know, I was probably conservative because I honestly didn't think I was going to win as much as we did. But with Alan Johnson, you don't have a choice. I mean, I wanted to win, but when you start doing it, it's almost like an out-of-body experience.
Yeah, the winning happened very rapidly. The opportunity came because of a negative situation.
A tragedy.
And you see tragedy. And you won a championship for Blaine, and then you won a championship for yourself. And that is really interesting to think about. Like that first championship was almost a mission you were on. And I can't even imagine diving into that situation. I'm not saying it wasn't fun or you appreciated it, of course, but you walked into a situation where there was a great responsibility to perform.
I'll tell you, Joe, I just was looking for some more pictures. I want to show you this if I can show this here on the camera.
There.
This picture of Blaine Johnson was taped inside the car. Wow. Actually, when Dominic was born, I taped a picture of Dominic right next to him. And I guess I knew what I was getting into. When we warmed the car up in Santa Maria, I stayed there for the week to build it, spent a week with the guys, because it was different than an alcohol car. It has timers on it. It's got all kinds of shit on this thing. Not as much as they have today, but a lot, you know, the way the timing would work and the way the fuel system changed. And when we warmed it up, and when I did the Legends thing with Bobby Bennett, when we warmed this car up on a Friday night at 8 o'clock with the cool ocean breeze, and it intimidated the hell out of me. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this. And Jeff Garvin gave me a tape of a lot of Blaine's runs, pedaling the car, doing different things. And I thought, holy shit, there's no way I'm going to ever be able to fill this guy's shoes. And honestly, it wasn't I was afraid of the car. I was afraid of looking stupid. And I'm going to tell you one thing that Alan and Everett and Agnes and Pam, Alan's sister, they went way out of their way to make me comfortable, to make me feel like part of the family. And we were on a mission. We were going to win this thing. I was not a stalker, like I said before, but I was a fan of Alan and Blaine because they were whipping Bernstein's ass. They were whipping Amato's ass. They were whipping all the badasses' asses with no money. They were just doing it on determination and brains and hard work. And, you know, and drank a lot of beer. They had a good time when they did it. And I will tell you that I know Alan's been with several teams since, and I know that him and Blaine had a good time, but I'm going to tell you what, we enjoyed the shit out of ourselves. I went into this thing blind and stupid. I was friends with all the alcohol racers all over the country. You know, not like social media is now. You get to be friends with people. My kids are friends with people in Australia and New Zealand and all over the country. I was friends with Frank Manzo, who's from New Jersey, you know, and Bill Walsh was another one that was one of my heroes. Wow. But I didn't know that you don't go in another fuel guy's trailer. Like you stand outside and, you know, can I see Corey? Or my dumb ass, I rolled right in there. Austin Coyle looks, and I said, you know, he like didn't know what to do with the screen. I said, Coyle, I don't know how to read that shit anyway. You might as well leave it up there, you know. And it got to where it was just fun, and everybody expected me to come over and give them a bad time. It was fun. We wanted to win bad. We wanted to do what we wanted to do, but it was fun.
That's great. And that you had fun and you were able to have fun and keep it fun. I was a fan of Blaine because my drivers retired, right? Like, you know, I was a fan of Snake, obviously. Coming up, fan of Snake, hung with the Snake. Snake stepped out of the cockpit. You want to get somebody new every once in a while. It can't always be the same people. You want to have a connection to somebody fresh. And as somebody who's a drag racing fan in Florida, Blaine Johnson, who's this guy? He's kicking everybody. Like you said, he's kicking everybody's ass. And it was just a natural deal. And I remember the final round, Gainesville is a blowover against Scott Coletta, and Blaine kind of like navigated around, won the race. Just crazy stuff was happening, and was obviously going on to a championship when the tragedy happened. But for you to be able to get in there, for Winston to come in, T. Wayne Robertson, like that connection. You mentioned T. Wayne. We don't know if we talk about him enough as someone who deserves a large portion of the credit for why the sport, like what level is it at right now? It's as whatever it is it huge? Is it big? Is it pretty big? Whatever it is, it's probably because he loved it and invested in it.
Well, what T. Wayne, the drivers were the stars. Wally Parks, the cars were the stars. For whatever reason, Wally didn't want the drivers to be the heroes. Now, they turned out to be. You had McEwen, you had Prudhomme, you had Bernstein. Force was on his way to being, Force got beat up a lot. Gartlets, obviously, Shirley. And when people talk about legends and they talk about things like that, that's who I say are the ones that made this sport. If you talk today, somebody that knows shit about drag racing, you talk about Gartlets or you talk about Shirley or Snake, McEwen. Now, obviously now Force is like the word the. He's the guy.
The guy. Yeah.
The guy. And obviously he's made it there. I don't know how he does it at his age, but those are the guys to me that are really somebody. Now, people say Caps and, Scott Coletta was a great, but we can go on and on and on, Joe Amato. But the Bernsteins of the world, those guys, they set the tone for, I think, for where we're at today. But T. Wayne was the one that made shit happen. And T. Wayne knew the clutch guy on Jim Head's car. He knew him by name. He knew he could come to the races and name people off. And he didn't want me to drive at the beginning. When Alan called me and asked me to drive the car, he said, I don't have a sponsor, but I'm going to continue to race. You're the first one I'm calling. I said, don't call anybody else for an hour. I hung up the phone, got my mom, my dad, my wife, my brothers, said, here's the deal. We're going to have to buy some nitro. We didn't have any money. We were still broke wops at that time. I don't know if that's politically correct, but I'm Italian, Dago, wop, whatever, doesn't offend me.
No, without papers, man. It's an acronym, without papers. We're immigrant people.
And so, immigrant, not ignorant. Don't get those two mixed up. Sometimes I fall in that other category. If I'd be having the beer right now, I'd be into the ignorant category.
Yeah. All right, hey, someone's about to jump in. We got our first qualified celebrity. Look at this guy.
Oh, my God. Holy shit. Yeah.
There he
How
is.
many beers late am I?
I've been working my fucking ass off all day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm tall and good looking.
I do want
both. I did just crack open my first one. So.
Yes, Chad. Thank God for you. Here's to you, buddy.
Yeah,
Right.
Thank you.
and you know why I opened a beer because I got to talk to you. So I better fucking I better have a beer.
Okay, Chad.
You better have 3 or 4.
How about no F word? Everything else is okay. How about that, Chad? Can you do that for us?
All right.
So we even had a sound effect that emphasized it. What's up, Chad? So I asked Gary, I was like, hey, man, name some people that should get on here. He's like, dude, Chad Head would be great. So what is your, go back, Chad, when this guy started coming around, what was he like?
He's a crazy wop.
I'm offended. I'm offended by that.
He's a crazy wop that all we did was we'd go from town to town and hit every Dairy Queen we could.
He was skinny. He was skinny.
And adult establishment.
Gary was when he came on the scene, it was pretty cool. I mean, it's I remember that first race when he went to Pomona. It was like, holy shit, this guy can drive, and pretty cool. It was definitely good to get to meet him and his family and his brothers, and I've been to his business, and it's just it was pretty cool that we got to know each other and become very good friends. So
now the talent part of it. He tells the story that he was over his head, right? But obviously that's not the truth. You don't do what he did. Yeah, I'm going to go jump back in a funny car now. Hey, I'm a world champ. There's talent there.
I wish it was that easy.
Did you say on his head or he's definitely been on his head. There's no question about that.
But how did you know, though? What were the things that made you understand that this guy had some sort of innate talent?
When he didn't lift at Pomona and the wheels were carrying for like maybe 1,320 feet. Yeah. Yeah. I knew he had talent, and I knew he was crazy. And you got to have both to drive a top fuel car for Alan Johnson. That's for sure.
You remember that run, Gary?
I do.
Yeah.
I was racing Ralph Gore's son, Spike Gore. First round at Pomona, we're number one qualifier, and I was rolling the car in qualifying, which, I didn't know shit about staging thin, staging deep. I had no idea. I just parked that thing. Anyway, so Alan told me, hey, look, we could probably win this race, but I need lane choice because sooner or later we're going to have a lane that's going to go away, and lane choice is going to be critical. So you stage that car as thin as you can, and you leave on that yellow. I don't give a shit what your light is. You leave on the yellow, and we're going to win this race. Okay? So I rolled in. I think I had a 540 light against Spike Gore. Hit the gas, and the front end starts climbing. I thought, holy shit. I pedal it, set her back down. I think we went at 82 or something and beat him. And the camera wasn't even on me. And I'm thinking, holy shit, did you guys see that? That was – and for like the first 50 runs, I was having out-of-body experiences. Like my hands are grabbing the brake, my foot's hitting the throttle, it's coming off the gas. I'm steering it, I'm doing all the shit you're supposed to be doing. But I don't know that I'm really supposed to be doing it. And Alan said, well, what did it do? And I said, well, okay, here's the deal. We did this in licensing in Phoenix. I said, Alan, I have no clue what this fucking thing. I'm sorry. Here we go. I get a freebie.
Yeah.
I have no idea what this thing is doing. I'm just going through the motions. So I'm going to tell you everything that I think is happening, and then you figure out what's true and what's not true. And we just kind of went from there, and it just worked out really, really well, obviously.
And time away from the track, Chad. There's on the clock and there's off the clock, but that's we were just talking about how it's a fun bunch, right? Fun crew.
Yeah,
I don't know how many. Shut up, Chad.
There was this day in Australia that I remember.
Remember the show MASH?
Yes.
Radar O'Reilly. Okay, Chad worked for Force, but Chad could make shit happen, like Brandon Bernstein does today. Like, what do you need? You want to buy a watch? You want to buy a bridge? What do you want to buy? Whatever you want to do. You want to get into a restaurant? Whatever you wanted to do, this guy could make shit happen. And many a night, I don't know how many hotel rooms or bars we were in, playing pool. His smoking hot girlfriend, Michelle, used to wear mini skirts that would make me crazy. She still does, but she can't see very good, so she doesn't know I'm looking at her. But it was so fun with Chad, and Jim Head was obviously a close friend of Alan's. And Jim, you want to talk about no filter. Jim was obviously a no filter guy. But we just had a good time in every town we went to. And no matter what, if it wasn't fun, we made it fun. And it didn't matter who was there, who wasn't there, or what time it was. It was good.
Yeah. In the golden era, like the second golden era of the sport, like, 90s to 2000s, kind of the end of the run of Winston when that was like the final days of Winston. And you guys were rock stars again.
Chad, Pat Dakin, the biggest shit stirrer on the planet Earth. So
Frank Bradley's.
Frank was before my time.
Right, yeah. Frank Bradley's biggest shit.
Some really good stuff.
Sure.
But we had a big deal going on. Dale Armstrong obviously had Bernstein stuff hauling ass. At one time we were all badasses and had shit happening. At one time, Bernstein's guys were struggling and we were hauling ass. And clutch discs, I'm sure they are at this time now, but back then were huge. So I remember, I think we were in Atlanta, and we ran like shit, and we ended up qualifying, and we were hauling ass in eliminations. And we left the pit area, and we would throw the clutch discs in the garbage cans. They had 55-gallon drums in the pits. So one of Bernstein's guys went over and took our used clutch discs out to find out what compound they were, or Rockwell. And Pat Dakin got wind of this stuff. So the next race on the tour, he had shirts, Bud Guys, Clutchgate, and had like a stick man with clutches. And that shit went everywhere. Yeah. I mean, there was always a shitster, and Dakin, if he got any wind of anything, I remember Bazemore. I don't know for what reason that Dakin wanted to mess with Bazemore, but for probably 3 races, the back door in his trailer said, "Follow me to a gay bar." I mean, just anything.
And we love gay people.
Absolutely.
But Bazemore, Bazemore had to know everything about everything. I mean, Whit, you're a different son of a bitch. I'm sorry. You know it. I've told you that to your face. You're just a different guy.
All right. Quick note before we bring in the next guest to say what's up to Gary is like, Scott.
Don't say Whit Bazemore.
Well, no, not that. That's not the bad word that's going to get me in Facebook jail. Like, some people are suggesting that Facebook might have a problem with me. I don't know if that's the truth, but maybe it is. I don't know. So bail me out. Somebody bail me out. Okay. Next guest, someone that you won many races with. Chad, you're staying with us. We can have 6 people on here maximum, just so you know.
Okay.
Someone you won many races with and championships with, and a quasi teammate.
Oh no! I've got that same picture on Jill. It's in the race shop.
Yeah, it hangs. I had to take it off my wall so I could get it on here because
I was 100 pounds lighter.
So how are you?
Doll?
I'm good, and I'm sitting here listening to you guys talk, and I'm like, that's why me and Gary got along so well, because I don't have a filter in my mouth either. So
let me tell you something. Angel will just whip your ass, so there's no issue there. I can't believe you let me do that to this day. Pick you up on my shoulder.
Isn't that the coolest shot ever, though, y'all? Let me check it out. Like, that was a good day.
That is.
Yeah.
We had a lot of good days.
And she had it ready, too. She had it ready. You guys, Winston, T. Wayne, talking about that just minutes ago, and you shared championship. Like, there's the winner's circle, and then there's the championship stage. You both were at the peak at the same time.
It was so much fun. I mean, one of the best parts about the whole thing was that I got to park in the top fuel pits with Gary. So we were teamed up together the whole weekend at every race. And it was pretty overwhelming for me because, the Pro Cycle motorcycle pits, we're way out in the back in the boondocks, and only the diehards come and find us there. But when I was pitted with Gary in top fuel, it was insane. I mean, we were just
let me tell you something.
Nonstop.
Being a badass on a bike and being hot didn't hurt her either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That helped the fans.
It was cool. Chad, we were with you. I mean, I was also teammates with Chad when we did the close call deal. So same thing. We were all pitted together. So I have history with both of these guys.
Yeah. But it's all
we had a lot of fun.
All thanks to T. Wayne.
Yep. That was really probably the best days of drag racing when, they took really good care of us. We got to do a lot of fun things with Winston together. One of the ones I remember the most, remember we had that barbecue and we all had the what do you call it? The things on when you're cooking. I can't think about it. The apron, and we had the big chef hat and we were cooking. I still have that, actually. I have the apron and the chef hat.
Yeah, we did a lot of fun things. They didn't even know they paid for it, but they did.
So true. True. I could also remember we had gone out to dinner one night and I wanted to eat lobster. Yeah. And I was scared to order it because it was market price, which was probably like $87. And so I passed on the lobster, and apparently T. Wayne found out that that's what I wanted, and I didn't get it. And he made the waiter come back and take my order again, and he fussed at me and told me that our alcohol bill was going to be way more than our food bill, so go ahead and order the damn lobster. That's so, right. I had the lobster that night.
Do you remember the saying that T. Wayne used to say? Scelzi, we got a lot of problems here at R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company. Money ain't one of them.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, if that's what your sponsor was telling you, things are good.
Yeah, we ain't heard that saying a lot.
No,
that doesn't happen anymore.
Dinners were huge for them. You remember we'd have the deal at Indy at Shula's?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It was at Shula's, and we had the football. Yeah. The menu was on the football. Yeah, that was the night. I wanted the lobster, but I didn't get it. And he was like, "You're going to get the damn lobster." So I did.
Get you 3 lobsters.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So look, I know you guys are having a drink. I got mine. I'm doing a Kim's cup.
Angel, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
You coming on and having a beverage. Me and Chad now. Gary, you're totally outnumbered with your water.
I love it. I know. You know what? I'm going to get up here in just a minute. I'm going to mix me a crown of water here just about a minute.
I don't drink too much, but Pim, I don't know if you guys ever heard of a Pim's cup. It's a big thing in New Orleans at the Napoleon House. So Southern girl, got to have me a Southern drink.
I love it. Right. I love it. Well, you've been working out a lot, Angel. I don't know if you follow on the socials. I've
been working out too.
I can't put the top half on there, Chad.
Me either.
So I'm happy to be in the top 50% of the most fittest people on the show here at the moment.
We got to move Angel on to my side. Put Chad on over to your side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep Angel on my side. But, going to the track, going to these races, traveling, you got Winston, what you just said about T. Wayne, like that makes a lot of sense. I can't even think of a company who would say something like that, like Amazon maybe now.
Exactly.
Like, who's the company that could even say something like that? But you made it fun, and the fans were fun. But drag racing is still fun, though. Angel, you're having fun out there.
I'm having more fun today than I ever have in my past, because I grew up and I finally learned which priorities are supposed to mean the most to me. And of course, that's my family, my little girl, Ava, who's 9 years old now. Back in the day, I raced to live, and I lived to race. I mean, that's all there was to my life. And it was so empty when I wasn't at the racetrack. And so I put so much pressure on myself then. And I've learned now that there's so much more to it. The racing part is a blessing, and I'm lucky to have it. But, the real world, when I come back home, is where I'm needed the most. So I have the best of both worlds now. I get to go to the racetrack, have a good time. I got an awesome sponsor again with Harley Davidson on the Vance and Hines team. But then I have my family at the same time as well. You guys, you didn't have to do what I had to do. I had to put the family aside to stay on that motorcycle. So I was very lucky to be able to take the time off. Didn't know I was going to come back to racing, but was able to start my family, and I'm back again. So I couldn't ask for more than I have now.
And Gary's teasing us that, he keeps saying, the words comeback, but I'm busy. He's like, what do you think, Angel? Can we
I'm
link?
too fat, goddammit.
Gary, a lot of people ask me about you all the time, because we're linked together with the whole Winston deal. So if anybody has a Winston picture for me to sign, usually your name comes up. And a lot of times there's Winston pictures that you're in and that they want me to sign it. So everybody's still loving you, still missing you. I know we do. So yeah, it would be great. Even if it's just to come hang out at the pits and see us. We'd love to see you at the track soon.
Well, I love them Harleys, and I like to see a little Cajun ass win when he's in a hurry.
I'm trying. I'm working on it. Last year was a learning curve for me. I was really intimidated by the motorcycle, but I'm not anymore. I am ready. I couldn't have been more ready when we got to Gainesville, and it was like somebody just stabbed me in the heart when they told us to go home, that we weren't going to race, because I was on fire. I was ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a 117-inch CVO. Road glide.
Oh yeah.
And I had Chris Rivas put a cam in it. It's a badass.
Yeah, you live near him, don't you?
Yeah, he's from here in Fresno too. And that thing hauls ass. I rode it yesterday.
That's awesome.
I think about you. I wish I'm gonna have to have her give me lessons how to do a burnout this thing without falling over.
Yeah, you got to come check out the Harleys.
I know, they're badass.
Yeah, they're beautiful bikes this year. Andrew did a great job designing everything, and all the guys at Vance and Hines. But I can't wait to get on it. But just a little side note, you said Chris Rivas. Did you know that he's going to be a grandfather?
No.
Yeah, his daughter got married last year. She's going to be having a baby. So see how much time flies. I mean, how old is Dominic now? I was wondering about
Dominic
that.
He turned 23 May 2nd.
Oh, goodness gracious.
And fourth was 105 May 4th. Is that what it was?
That's what I said, yes. 105.
Isn't fourth birthday May 4th? Because he used to come
crazy.
get Dominic, and they'd go to the T-shirt trailer, and he'd give him die casts and T-shirts, all kinds. And I'd tell him, you ain't putting that shit in my motorhome. You get all that John Force shit out of here.
You see, Vance and Hines used to do that with Ava. She would go to play with Eddie and Andrew's kids, and they'd put her in a Vance and Hines hat and T-shirts and take pictures of her and send it to me. And I'd get so mad. And now, it's okay now. We're on the same team, so it's cool.
Yeah.
I can't believe Dominic's 23. He was Ava's age or younger the last time when I was around him.
He just turned 18.
Oh, my gosh.
In fact, he's in
look at that.
Testing pavement stuff right now, because hopefully he's running some ARCA West stuff, so he's kind of trying to go the NASCAR route, and then Dominic's Lake of the Ozarks right now running with the World of Outlaws in the sprint cars.
He's not at the pool.
Awesome.
He's not at the pool, hopefully.
No, he's not at the pool. When he's home, he's working here.
Okay. Hey, we got another guest coming. We got a couple more guests queued up just so everybody knows, guests and people live on the air. We can have 6 people at a time. And if we get more than that, I'm happy to take myself out. But then somebody's got to be the host of the show. So just so everyone knows, we got another world champion that's going to pop in to say hello, who also appreciates.
Oh, my God. Jeff, you know what I was going to tell you? This is the guy we need to have. And there's no doubt you're going to be having a beer already, JR.
I'm getting ready for that outlaw race.
What's that?
I'm getting ready for that outlaw race on Dirt Vision.
You know what? My wife's going home early from work today. She's getting everything ready.
That's good.
So, got a new shock package we're trying tonight.
Hey, you got a win last week. That was good.
Yeah, well, Jimmy's been struggling a little bit with a new chassis, so they'll get it figured out. But I'll be watching tonight. And then Gio's going back next week. They're going to run that 7 race in 9 days with the All-Stars with Tony Stewart's Dirt Series.
That's good.
So, how are you, my brother?
Good, man. I'm ready to go back racing. For now, I got to sit and watch your boys, though.
Yeah, I hear you. Man, I know I got I went to Tucson last weekend. Giovanni was running a super late model or something there, and I saw Alan Reinhart. So Alan kind of, well, look at that.
Check that out.
I kind of got up to speed.
Hey, Gary, I don't know if you can see this or not, but when Joe told me I was going to do this, I had to dig this out just for you.
Wait a minute, you're buffering. Oh,
You can't say
oh
you
my
can't
God.
say it. Don't say it, Gary.
Don't say it.
Yeah, don't say it. Don't turn around, Alan. Don't show the back of it.
Back, Alan. Do it. Show the back.
No, that was one of Gary's famous things one time when he blew the Winston car up and got out on the racetrack and put his fire suit down to his waist and was wearing their shirt. They were shooting him from the back. And, you know, you got to be kind of an old timer to know what it is. But when you said about this, I knew I had this thing someplace. I went and dug it up just for the occasion.
Angel, don't you have one of those?
I do.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
Pro Stock motorcycle people, no, they can't have that shit. Angel got everything that the fuel guys got.
Oh, yeah.
She
Yeah.
was top fuel. She just didn't know
I
it.
was honorary top fuel member. Yeah.
Oh, my God, Alan.
Chad,
That brings back some memories.
Chad, you got one of these, don't you?
Well, I got a few.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yep. I remember throwing a bottle with Bazemore at the ale house one night.
At Whit Bazemore?
Yeah, Adam. He said something dumb like he always does, so I figured out.
Oh, God, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, back from 97 to 2008, it just was a different time. I mean, I don't know what it's like now, JR, but do they do the shit that we used to do and have the fun that we used to have?
No, I mean,
Nuh-uh.
when I first met you, I think it was 2000 or 2001 when I was running around with Nicky when he was still working with Bruce Litton. And we mostly ran NHRA back then. And I couldn't wait to go to the NHRA races just because we would go to your pit area and you guys always won. And always had a cooler full of Bud Light, which I may not have been 21, but I always had a Bud Light in my hand. It was that was the place to be.
You know, one of the neatest things that we used to do when the Winston days were great, the ice chest went in the back of the van, and in the back of that van, final round. Don't matter win, lose, or draw. And Everett, we used to call him Paul. Paul would get ready to tow up, and he'd go in the ice chest, he'd crack one open. I said, Paul, we're not done yet. He goes, I'm done. He said, there ain't nothing I can do to this thing now. He said, it's all up to you. He said, I'm going to start drinking right now. Oh, my God. And so no matter win, lose, or draw, when you got to the end, the ice chest was full. And win, lose, or draw, by the time we got back to the starting line, everybody was junk.
Yeah.
Because
Ken Johnson used to do the same thing. Remember Ken? He'd crack open the beer. As soon as he put that last Zeus tool on my body, he's like, my job is done.
I've had enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God. I remember Forrest saying, Scelzi, I don't know how you guys do it. He says, first round on Sunday mornings, Alan's sleeping on the injector. You got the dark visor down, and you're sleeping in the car, and they're yelling at you guys to start for first round, and you guys win the race. He said, I got to start doing what you guys do. Oh, God. That was funny.
I just figured out why guys like you and Scott and everybody back in the day had those dark shields on your helmets and you kept them down in the staging lanes. That makes perfect sense now.
Yeah,
all
they
come together, right?
They use the dark shields at night.
Hey, Alan, do you remember at the end of the racetrack, Alan would be there to interview you at the end of the racetrack. Didn't matter, qualifying, whatever it was. And Alan would always have a cigarette lit for me. And so I'd do the interview, and I'd turn around, the cameras were still on, and Alan would, bam, here's the cigarette. I was telling my kids about that. I was telling Gio about it the other day after lunch. He goes, no, you're kidding. I said, no shit. I said, sponsored by Winston, cigarette hand, smoking off camera. They loved it. It was perfect.
I remember being up at your place in Fresno and you thought you were being so sneaky that Julie wouldn't know you were smoking because you'd have to stop and get gum on the way home. Come on.
and bathroom spray, remember that?
Oh, yeah. The beauty of it back then was not everybody had a freaking camera phone with them. There was a bunch of stuff that happened that didn't really happen. Right, Chad?
You got it, buddy.
Right.
I was looking for the pictures. Do you remember when we did that charity for the go-kart deal? And you came up, we were in my office, Lasowski was here. And I can't find that picture. I've been tearing my office apart. I ran across it about 3 months ago. I'll find it and I'll send you a picture. Like I said, the charity things. One thing about Alan Reinhart, anything you ever needed, whether it was a Blaine Johnson golf tournament, whether it was a charity deal for go-karts, didn't matter. Alan, we're not paying you. I'm in. It didn't matter. He's not the smartest announcer in the world, but he is the most giving.
We definitely had a lot of fun with that stuff. The one thing I remember about that was the first night we were doing the auction, and I was explaining to everybody in the crowd how you got everybody to come volunteer to do this. The best one ever, my favorite, was that, when Forrest was having his gallbladder problems and you offered to go to the gallbladder to him to get him through that.
You remember Forrest when he went to the golf tournament at Santa Maria and he drove like an hour and a half past Santa Maria? Had no idea where he was going. Oh, yeah. And you know what's so funny, Joe? All the stories with Forrest that you say, this guy's so full of shit, it can't be true. They're true. Mm-hmm. I mean, we had Moss Brothers Dodge and Moss Brothers Ford used to give us cars. So at the end of the year, I would go down there like before Pomona, and we would do television and radio shows. Forrest versus Scelzi, Scelzi versus Forrest. Who could sell more cars? So I remember going down there to the shop, and I didn't get there until like 4 o'clock. And Robert and Eric Medlin, Forrest made him move all 100 and some trophies all around the showroom. I still wasn't there. He made them put them all back. And so when I showed up, they go, where have you been? This asshole's making us work until you get here. Why didn't you get here sooner? So anyway, we end up at, I'm starving. It's like, it's 4:30. Oh, we're going to go down to Applebee's and have a beer. Okay, I'm going to take you to this great restaurant for dinner. Okay, so we go to this restaurant. We're sitting down, or not, as Applebee's. So we start drinking beer, then people start recognizing who the hell we are. So next thing you know, John goes, oh my God, that girl over there. I said, yeah, he goes, in high school, I was in love with a girl that looked just like this. Her name was Linda. Okay. So Linda has about a 7'2", like one of your old boyfriends, Angel.
Oh,
monster, fire-breathing monster. I go, John, can't you have a girlfriend in high school that had a little boyfriend? Why do we got to have the big boyfriend? And so anyway, he gets up and goes and talks to her. I try to stop him, my better judgment. No, he goes over there. So she comes and sits down at the table with her husband, and she goes, John does this every week. Says I look just like Linda that he went to high school with, da-da-da-da. The next thing you know, there's 100 people that end up at his shop. He's giving everybody free T-shirts and everything because that's just John Forrest. So then we go to this restaurant that he's going to tell me is so great. Quit serving dinner at 10 o'clock. It's 10:30. Sorry, guys. So we go to the karaoke bar. Well, some rather large person that loved John wants to dance with him. And they start dancing and falls on top of John, and John's legs go up in the air. I mean, this shit can't happen in real life. It does with John.
There you go. All right. I'm going to.
Hey, Gary.
What,
Gary.
Chad? Stay put. Chad, stay put. I'm going to add someone. I'm going to remove Chad. You're still here. I'm going to add someone. Boom. New guest.
Oh, boy. My other son first.
Ron, you're on, Ron. Ron, you're on. Finish.
Ron, get that off your finger.
Hey, Gary.
Oh my God!
How are you, Ron?
Can you hear me all right?
The Chili Bowl, the Charter Jet, and the Ice Chest. Remember that?
The Chili Bowl.
I remember a lot. There are things I don't remember at the Chili Bowl. A lot of things I do remember. I remember getting back to our rooms and seeing if we could beat the USA Today newspaper being delivered at our front door of the hotel, because they're delivered about 5 a.m. So Scelzi and I and Chad and Tony Stewart and all these guys, Lasovsky, if we made it back before the paper, it was like a running bet if we could get back. Holy smokes, that was fun.
Hey, you remember the wheelchair, don't you?
Yeah, dude.
Pick up on aisle 9. Pick up on aisle 10. We gotta take caps at the airport.
I remember. I don't know how I got home. I remember my accident at the Chili Bowl, and Chad Head somehow put me on a plane like Weekend at Bernie's, just sticking me on the plane. I don't know how I changed planes. He bribed somebody to get me from one flight to another. I showed up. My wife picked me up. I have an arm in a sling, CAT scan, head, concussion, the whole thing. Another weekend at the Chili Bowl.
Hey, what did Daddy Don ever say about that one? I wasn't involved in that one.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It was not a good phone call, no.
Yeah, Don was never happy when we did those things. We always begged for forgiveness. It was always a lot easier than asking for permission.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything we did.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's one thing, Ron. It was always, oh boy, there's a picture.
We are not talking about racing. You would think we're talking about racing. I promise you. It's probably the weekend that JR and Todd whipped our butts in the micros, right?
Hey,
it was probably the same weekend.
That's another thing. So we get tight with JR, right? So we learned really quickly, you don't invite that little asshole to any circle tech race.
He ruined the party.
Pictures hanging from that night. That was fun.
He doesn't understand that we invited you. You don't beat us. I ran third that night. He won. Caps was. I always ran behind Caps anyway, unless I wrecked him.
Well, there's only 3 cars, so that's right.
There was only 3 cars running.
Right.
Remember Morgan Lucas even bent steering wheels. I mean, everybody wrecks shit, and Morgan Lucas brings back a bent steering wheel. We go, who bends the steering wheel?
Hey, Scelzi, listen, I can vouch for everybody on here and even whoever's waiting in the green room. The top 10 stories I have, I tell people, you are 9 out of 10. Something we did. The Piccadilly Inn, JR, were you there that night with Corey Mack's car and the tacos and the cheese and the cops pulling us out? That was one night Gary wasn't physically with us, but we were in his town representing him and doing a charity for him.
I mean, the cops were on my door, and I was not answering the door.
I swear to God, the best stories I have is something to do with Scelzi. Oh my God, I could go on and on. So much fun. We miss you, man. God, we miss you. It is not fun.
Remember the stories are better.
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember them taking place.
The Piccadilly Inn. There's only one place you can call the Piccadilly Inn.
I was at the Piccadilly car wash this morning.
Oh.
Every time I go by there, I make the sign of the cross. Oh my Lord! Hey,
that was about 20 Jaeger bombs.
You just showed the Chili Bowl. That's when Stewart had one chin. Look at that.
Yeah. Oh, what a fun weekend, man! We miss you. Holy smokes! Listen, I hate for the fans to hear this, but it's a little more corporate. It's not as much fun, nearly as fun. And my teammates, I love them all, but I'll get some of my teammates now at DSR. They'll be like, "Hey, man, what was it like with Scelzi?" And I go, "It was way better than it is right now. I promise you," because every day was fun. I followed after Gary's footsteps. I got a motorhome just like him. I parked in the motorhome lot just like him. Everything I wanted to be Gary Scelzi, and so he got me to come over to DSR, and he was the only reason I went to DSR. And Now it's just it's not fun like it used to be. It used to be all of us running off like Chad and me and JR and going dirt racing. And if there was a dirt race within a few hundred miles, we were there, right? Like,
Doug would fly us there.
Yeah, remember Doug Coletta flew us back on his jet. That was awesome. Otherwise, we would have, well, we couldn't drive the truck back.
I'm sure you got paid for the jet use, Connie. I'm sure of that. We'll take it out of the budget. Oh, my God.
Our liver
So much fun.
A little bit better shape, though, isn't it, Cap?
Yeah. Yeah. You listen, I wander over to JR's pit area to go see Chad if I need to get a little morale boost to just kind of remember what it used to be like. It used to be so much fun. Not that we don't enjoy what we do. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure JR and Chad will tell you the same thing and on gel, but man, it was a different kind of fun with Scelzi and the Scelzi says, and every week, Friday morning, you'd wait to see if he'd come grab you to be a part of whatever Scelzi says was going to do. And I was always, yeah, I'll do it. And next thing you know, I'm dressed in drag, and I got earrings on. I got my wife's skirt on, or I'm massaging.
You look good.
Oh, yeah, I did look good. Or I'm massaging Gary on his hairy back in his motorhome, pretending to be his masseuse for a Scelzi Says episode. Like, it was never Gary saying, hey, I got this idea. Are you part of it? He was like, yep, I'm in. Whatever you're doing. Like, I knew it was going to be good. So, God, we miss you.
Hey, Gary, remember that time we raced in the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach together?
Yes.
Remember we were on that back straightaway? You said something about crashing Ron. You have to crash him to pass him up. Remember we were on that back straightaway and Coolio couldn't drive and he wouldn't let anybody pass him up? And we were coming into that hairpin turn and you rolled down your window and you told me, take the inside of the turn. And then we got there and you did the pit maneuver on Coolio and crashed him off the truck.
You know what? It's so funny because Giovanni just did a road course. Yesterday, he's learning how to do the road course because they thought they were going to run Sonoma, but they're going to race in Utah. But I remember parking Coolio, and I'm watching the rear view mirror, and he's the only one driving down the side.
Yeah.
Cruising, digging to the radio. He's racing, leaned over, and I'm thinking, what is this guy doing? Like,
he couldn't shift, so he was grinding the gears.
He spins around, backs into the tires, and comes right back out. I don't even think he knew it. He was completely out of his mind.
All right, I'm going to add another guest in place of myself, someone that you competed against a lot in your conversation. It's very entertaining to me.
The drama. The wait and see who this is.
Oh my God, DG!
What did I do to this Utah drag race guy special?
I can hardly hear you, Daryl.
I said, is this Friday night drag racing Utah guy?
Yeah. Now, are you in Florida?
Yes.
Daryl saved my life in January. Gio was racing in Florida, and it was 22 below in Florida. And Daryl had his van there, and I begged him to let me in because it was so goddamn cold. Now, Daryl comes to the sprint car races. He goes all over. Him and, Dixon doesn't come, but he's always with Dixon, always in Indy. How are you, brother?
I'm doing good, guys. How's everybody?
Doing good.
We're having a good time.
It's happy hour.
This is almost like after Friday night qualifying.
Well, you guys were talking about, your time together is racing. Just think about how much more fun it was back, 10 years before that and 10 years before that. So I wasn't able to chime in those times, but it just like, the nostalgia days and some of the 70s and 80s and some of the best days in our sport. And obviously not well, but, who knows what remains to be is what our sport, motorsports in general is going to be like. So keep our fingers crossed.
You know what I remember about Daryl Gwynn? He was good friends with Bob DeBoer. So we were at Pomona, and Daryl's trailer had a basketball net on the back door. You remember that? Yeah. Remember that, Alan?
Oh, yeah.
So We're back there. My whole life I wanted to drive Top Fuel. I didn't care about doing it for a living. I just wanted to drive a Top Fuel car. And Daryl was our hero because he was an alcohol guy that made it to Top Fuel, kicking Gartlett's ass, running great. And Daryl says, he said, I've been watching these alcohol guys, and there's an up-and-comer that's going to be great. I never forgot this. And I'm thinking, man, he's gonna mention. He's gonna say to me, and I'm standing right there. He goes, Cruz Pedregon. He's gonna be one of the greatest. I go, you gotta be shitting me. Cruz Pedregon, are you kidding me? Oh my God, I'll never let you live that down, Daryl.
Hey man, you gotta have thick skin.
And you were right. He was good, or is good. He's still lasting.
Hey, stop while you're ahead, Scelzi.
Oh God.
Hey, anybody in here been to Scelzi's office that he's sitting in right now?
Oh yeah.
Chad, I know you have. JR, you ever been in there?
Yeah.
Okay, this is Scelzi. I don't know if he can ever pan around. Ladies and gentlemen at home, I promise you, it is the largest office you have ever seen. And it's a tribute. It's a tribute to Gary Scelzi. If you look around this office, it's like 4,000 square foot office.
Hey, I'm gonna try to show everybody. Hang on a minute.
You gotta see it. I walked in there, it was like you could park a car in there. And it's all Gary Scelzi memorabilia all over the place. It is a true tribute to himself.
I was always a great one.
Wait, do you still have the picture of me flipping you off in there?
Yeah, they showed it on the screen earlier.
Oh, did they? Oh, great.
Yeah.
I posted this on my fan page. I probably should have done that, huh?
Hey, Caps, you remember that IndyCar wheel?
Yeah.
I remember that guitar, that Winston guitar.
Oh, yeah. And then I've got Angel here somewhere.
Look at that place. Oh, my God.
Angel, you see yourself in the corner?
I do. I see it up on the top. Yep.
Yeah.
When I grow up, I want to have an office just like that.
You see, I've never been to his office, but I'm in his office.
It's got its own zip code.
I get you in my office, Angel. You ain't never coming out of my office.
Look, Ron, this is in my office. So you
I'm going to keep you. Oh, I remember all Angel's aunts and uncle. There he goes. That's the end of the race shop.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Love you, man.
We right back at you. I mean, the stuff that we did, it just came natural. It was just fun. But I was talking. It's so funny because I was telling these guys last year I had a deal where I might have been able to come back for one race. So I called NHRA because I let my license expire. And Ned Walliser and Glenn Cromwell both said, you make 3 runs, Scelzi, and even close, you're in. We'll let you run again right now. So it was really good that they were excited that I might come back. Graham Light might not have been so excited.
He's gone.
He's retired, so we're okay.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's over at the museum.
It's so funny that the people from NHRA actually would talk to me now because they didn't talk to me too much when I was racing.
We would have boycotted if they would have said anything about you not racing. Trust me, the whole funny car field, we would have got them together and not ran unless they let you run.
True story.
You guys are too kind. This is great, Joe. Thank you so much. This is this shit only happens when somebody dies. Thank God we're not at my wedding.
Nobody's alive, as far as I know. DG, I pulled you out for a second. You're still on there. Chad, you're still on there. I'm bouncing myself out. I'm going to put Chad back in for a second. You can only have 6. That's the limitation. But this is exactly what I wanted, man. I want you guys to just have fun and talk about the old days, and I'm enjoying it. I was a fan in the stands, and now I can help the sport in a way. And this is what I can do. Just keep going and put Chad in. I know he's pent up. He's got a great story about you guys.
He's got a lot of dirt on us.
I about got the stripper pole lined up. So we can get some
Oh God.
Scelzi, do your boys still wear Sparko fire suits?
What's that?
Do your boys still wear Sparko fire suits? Is it the same girl? Is it the same girl?
No.
I remember you brought her over. You're like, hey man, look at these fire suits. These things are nice. You should try. Like, I didn't give a shit about that fire suit. She's a rep. I'm in.
That was Kristen Anderson. Her and her husband, they do Supercross motorcycle wheels. So in case you want to do some Supercross, I got the hookup for you.
Perfect.
You know, Chad, you're talking about stripper poles. It just reminded me of something. Gary, do you guys remember the purple suit?
No, whatever you're going to say, I do not remember.
Oh, Houston.
Do you remember the purple suit?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to say too much.
And Fuzzy's bus, right?
The purple pimp suit is what I'm talking about.
I remember. I think Jim Head was wearing that in Gainesville one day.
I wasn't going to say any names. I'm not going to say names.
I just haven't had some flashbacks. I think Jim Head was involved.
Yeah, he was number one qualifier, and he came out for driver introduction with the purple pimp suit on. That was great. Yeah.
What's going on, DG?
SOS. Living the dream.
Hey, Dale. So you're not now. I'm not going to get into Frank Hawley because Frank Hawley was legit. But I want to talk about Mike Dunn. Was Mike Dunn very much fun? Did you ever have to keep a close eye on him?
Mike Dunn was a lot of fun. That was probably the next best that car. So Mike grew up in the sport the same way I did. And had a lot of common goals, and we got along real well for 9 years, and unfortunately had to come to an end. But yeah, Mike is a great man, and he definitely tells it like it is. I love his Comp Plus interview he did last month.
You know, whenever we're in Pennsylvania, he'll come to a sprint car race, and I got to mention something too because he's not on here. But Larry Dixon, we were in Indy last year, and we were working out of Stewart's shop, but there was too much shit going on there. We needed a place to work on the kids' sprint cars. And I saw Larry because Larry's buildings are right across the street from Tony Stewart's race shop. And Larry packed up his dragster, the trailer, and everything and pulled it outside for us to work on sprint cars for 2 days. Now, and wanted nothing. I mean, he just wanted to help. And I got to tell you, we talk about the racing community and the family, and, you know, that stuff like that you just don't ever forget. And because, I mean, I would do that to anybody that's in drag racing. Pat Austin, he was going down 99 one day, got him and Drew to pull in. They were going to race at Bakersfield, and they ended up working out of the shop and going to a race with us.
And they didn't get drunk.
Well, Pat doesn't get drunk. Pat can just keep going and going and going. In fact, if you ask Giovanni, Pat and Drew went with us to the races, and Pat's got a little dog. And we went from here to Stockton, which was about 2 hours to race. And Pat drank a 12-pack all the way there. He drank a 12-pack at the races and drank a 12-pack on the way home and only went to the bathroom once and was not drunk. He was just normal Pat. I mean, he's superhuman.
You got to practice to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not for rookies, Alan. You know that. You got to wear a belt or something. Oh, God. Well, this was fun. So, JR, you're going to watch tonight?
Absolutely. I'm going to watch Dirt Vision and the All-Stars.
All-Stars are tonight, too?
I think so.
Okay.
I'll be watching.
Well, the kids will be on – Gio's flying out Wednesday, so he's going to run that Oklahoma deal and all that stuff, him and Dominic both. And then Gio's going to run the Outlaws at Knoxville with Guy Fulbrook's car. And then Dom's going to stay with the All-Stars and run the whole thing, the 7 out of 9 nights or something. Whatever it is.
I'm hoping I can make some of them when they're back here.
Well, Dominic will be with the All-Stars for a while. Gio will be with Outlaws. Well, they'll be mixing it back up, but unless Gio's pavement stuff starts up again.
Cool.
So.
Hey, Gary, you know that Grady Chandler that was injured in Oklahoma, right? You know who that is?
Yeah. I've never met him, but I know how's he doing.
Yeah, he's coming to Miami next week.
No kidding.
I hooked him up with he's coming down and staying for a few months.
Well, you are the man.
Nice.
You helped my friend Guy Fulbrook, and you're always there.
Well, I'm always going to be here till I'm not. So.
Well, let me know when you get a diet program going on, because I'm going to need to get on that.
Do what I got to do.
Forrest is on Nutrisystem, just so you know. He told us yesterday. Alan, I pulled you out for a second. And so, we've been going an hour. I feel like, we could start the wind down process. Caps has reorganized. He's in a new spot because he's in a restaurant. But I figure it's time to start rolling out. Scelzi, do you feel like it was a success?
This was wonderful.
That's great.
This was more like a roast.
Not really. They could have gone really hard against you. All right, DG, Daryl Gwynn, who just did our Miami Hollywood reunion a few weeks back, and everybody loved it. We talked about the track that we both came up at, and we're going to do that again, Daryl. Everybody was like, no, we need more stories. We got to hear that story about DG and that thing that he did there that you mentioned. We're going to do it. Thank you for coming on, Daryl. I really appreciate it.
You bet. And maybe next time, you can just put Angel up on the screen so I don't have to look at everybody else.
Well, we can do that right now. Perfect.
Hi, Angel.
This show's getting better already.
Yes.
All right.
Did Shelly throw you outside?
Yeah. All right.
Caps. Hey, did Shelly throw you out?
Okay. Bye, Daryl. Daryl Gwynn. There he is. And we bring back Alan Reinhardt. No, Caps went outside because the restaurant sounds like the audience couldn't hear you guys talking, and so we sent Caps outside, and he willfully moved on his own. Thank you very much for that, Ron. Where are you, Ron? You're at a restaurant or something.
Okay. Oh, we lost his audio.
I muted him.
That's because I've got him muted.
See?
That's the best time to have Caps, is having muted.
Usually it's Scelzi gets muted.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I got Scelzi muted on the Scelzi show. Actually, I was in a bar. I'm in Sacramento visiting friends, and it's kind of cool. We came down to a restaurant and a bar, and there was no mask required. They're kind of back to normal. And I don't know, Scelzi, if it's like that in Fresno or not, or where you're at, JR or Chad, but it's kind of refreshing to go out and actually go into public and not have to wear a mask and just enjoy yourself.
You mean I can quit wearing Michelle's underwear on my phone for a mask? Damn.
It must be later on the East Coast, right?
Especially, we know Michelle wears boxers.
I'm not even going there. Scelzi, where are you going next? You flying out with the kids?
Panties on. Oh God, this is gonna get ugly, and I'm not even drinking.
Why not?
That was a requirement.
Part of this is you need to have a jacket. I know you. You've got to have a jacket. Something. Come on.
I got to drive 20 miles home.
Oh.
In fact, I just remembered I didn't have a car.
UPS just got here. I'll be right back.
Man, things have changed, haven't they?
That's very responsible of you, Gary. I think it's very good.
Yep.
Yeah, Gary. Very responsible of you, Gary.
There's no goddamn Uber anymore. I tried to get Uber this morning.
There's Uber.
He's getting responsible in his older age.
Yeah.
You know?
He's going to stop by the Piccadilly on his way home.
I'm going to get a room.
Hey, when you're in Fresno, the cops, if you know Gary Scelzi, the cops give you a ride home. I can tell you firsthand. If you're a Scelzi guy, you are in like Flynn.
Used to be.
Used to be. All I remember was Corey Mack's car covered in cheese from about 20 for Taco Bell tacos all over his car. And Scelzi called the next morning and go, what did you guys do?
Yeah, I saw it the next morning. Yeah, Caps, it's a bitch when we wake up the next morning, isn't
it? Yeah, especially in Sedalia.
Yeah. Woo! Especially if you got a Ford truck and it's ran by Enterprise, Ron Scelzi. Hey, that shit just don't happen, right?
Caps, I think we're banned from Sedalia. We ain't going back.
Hey, we should go back. We need to make another
They
return.
want to have a golf tournament again.
Oh my God!
Yeah, man. I think we should do it. We'll get PJ Chesson. We'll get all our buddies together. Let's do it.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of those in Santa Maria too, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, the Blaine Johnson. That's a whole new. That's another chapter that I could go into with Scelzi stories.
You can't even say it without laughing.
Someday I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna write a book someday, Scelzi.
Oh God! Hey, wait till about 6 months after I'm dead.
Oh, we miss you. God, we miss you.
Hey, you know what's so funny? Lasowski's a crew chief now for this Daniels kid that races.
That's funny. That's really funny.
It
So
is.
he wants Dominic and Giovanni to go to the next golf tournament, so they know what they missed when they were kids. Yeah.
Wow.
I just assume they didn't go to the next golf tournament.
Yeah. Or any golf tournament.
Or any golf tournament for that matter. Oh God!
Hey, how about Gio? Gio is one of my teammates now, which is pretty
Yes,
cool.
I saw him on a poster.
That
And it
is
wasn't
pretty
even a
awesome.
wanted poster.
Yeah, when I saw that, he was driving Bill McAnally's car this year and Napa on the car. I mean, Scelzi introduced me to Napa. He's the reason that I have Napa on my car. It's full circle to have Gio hot sauce, man.
I hope
And
it works out.
yeah,
And
me
Toyota.
too.
Got to give Toyota a shout out.
Yeah,
I like that.
very cool.
Yep.
Jack Irvine and Andy Grays.
All right,
My
so
two
we're
heroes.
going to continue winding down. I'm gonna put myself out, and then we're going to let Alan Reinhart give a final thought. Alan, give a final thought, and then we'll work our way down. Caps, you're going to be last. It's going to be you, Gary, and me last for a final thought. But I'm going to bounce out. Alan Reinhart's coming in. Alan Reinhart's going to give a final.
Well, thank you, Joe. Blow me up real quick because Caps got here late. I don't know if he saw this. I want to make sure that he sees the shirt that I'm wearing. I dug this out specifically for Gary today. You got one of those, don't you, Ron?
Yeah.
They told me I'm
Nobody
not
let him turn around.
Nobody wants to say too much about it.
Now, I could talk Gary Scelzi stuff for like 100 years, but I tell you, my all-time favorite was when we were doing the fundraiser in Fresno, and everybody was trying to get to the Chili Bowl, and Lasowski was there. They chartered a jet, and it was supposed to take guys home and come back, and the fog came in, and so they put 47 freaking people on a jet that had 5 seats on it. They flew down and landed in Orange County. Horse was on the jet. He had Robert bring the limo out because they were going to drive everybody else home. And then while Horse was trying to get thrown out of the airport, they stole a whole frickin' ice chest and everything full of beer, jumped on a plane and left. And John sent Gary a bill for $5,000 in the beer and the whole deal. And Gary had to overnight the ice chest back to him. How many people did you have on that plane? It had like 5 chairs on it. I'm telling you, 14
Only 5 people, Alan. Only 5 people.
We played guts. I never played guts. Gary taught me how to play guts. We had Art Whipple. We had a whole slew of people on that plane. John Force, if you remember, Gary, he was joking, but he jumped on the hood of this Lear, like acting like he was going to keep us from taking off at this Orange County airport on a Lear jet. And he's on the nose of the plane, and he's flopping around, and the pilot's like, you guys got to get this guy off this plane. He's going to get arrested. He didn't realize how many laws he was breaking.
Yeah.
And remember that? Oh my God. Robert back then, Robert was on his crew and he came and rescued him. And I played guts until the time we landed for the Chili Bowl. And I probably, I don't know how much money I lost to Whipple and Scelzi and all those guys, but that was a hell of a trip.
Oh God. Now that's when you were a rock star, Caps. That's when it was fun.
It was fun.
Oh my God. Well, all I can say, if it's my time, I love every one of these people you got on here. Angela, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in so long.
I know,
I will
thank
be in your pit area the next drag race I go to, but
yes, please come and
you
visit.
couldn't have picked better people, Joe, to have on here than you did. This is like the all-star of the all-stars. And we're going to have an HBO one of these so we can tell some of the real stories that actually happened.
No, I think you should continue to tell the stories. I did watch that whole Comp Plus thing you did with Bobby Bennett, and he does a great job with that, and it was a perfect thing for me to watch. And you did say at the end that, like, I don't want to bother people. I don't know. Like, hopefully you realize that that's not the case at all, man. That everybody wants to be out there as much as is possible, no matter what. Like, not just me. Like, what do I matter? But all of these people want you to be there as often as you possibly can, period.
Well, I can tell you that my kids go.
Except for Chad.
Except Chad.
I don't.
Chad's my go-to guy, and so is JR. But I got to tell you that all of these guys, whenever my kids go to watch Austin Prock, they all treat my kids like they're their own, and that makes me feel really good. They definitely enjoy themselves. They always got stories to tell me when they come home.
That's great. All right, Angel, final thought.
Just like everybody else is saying, Gary, we miss you so much. I'm not joking. I hope you can come out to the races soon and come hang out with us. You always have a seat in the pit. We have an ice chest too, so we can treat you. My team loves crowns, so they keep that in the ice chest for the end of the day. But it was great to see you. I miss you guys. Please tell the family I said hello, because I watched them grow up at the racetrack, and I can't believe that they're that old now. So give them all a hug and kiss for me, and watch us this year. I'm going to get that winner circle for you. I'm going to hopefully you'll be at the race that I win, and you can hold me up in the winner circle again.
When you win that race, I want you to say, Gary Scelzi taught me absolutely nothing about riding a motorcycle.
But you know what? You did teach me a lot about what Daryl just said a little while ago about you got to have thick skin, and you got to know how to handle yourself with everything that goes on behind the scenes at racing. And I think being a teammate of yours and being pitted with you and being around you as much as I was helped me to be able to handle the things that I was faced with over my career. So I thank you for that, and I miss you and I love you, and please tell everybody I said hi.
All right. Love you too, Angel.
Thank you, Angel.
Bye, y'all. Bye, everybody.
Yeah. Yo, incredible. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. Gary, this is your life, right?
I'm telling you,
just so you know,
if I was drunk, I'd be emotional.
Your health. Well, that's the only downside. Like, if there has to be a negative, Scelzi wasn't drinking, but we know why. 20-mile drive, whatever. All right, JR, you're next.
Yeah, man. Like everybody keeps saying, we miss you. It's always an honor when you come to the track and you come to hospitality and stop by. And I feel like I'm one of the lucky ones that get to see you once or twice a year at the dirt tracks, which is kind of out of your element, what people are used to seeing you. It's fun watching like how passionate you are, watching your kids and seeing like where they are today. I remember them being at the races, come with me and punch me in the nuts. I'm like, get out of here, you little punks. And
their mother taught them that, JR. That was Julie that taught them that, not me.
And now they're kicking everybody's ass on the dirt tracks and pavement now at Geo. They got a long career ahead of them, and if they're anything half as good as you, they're going to make it a long way. So look forward to seeing you guys soon, and I'm always a big fan of Geo and Dominic. Remember that.
Right on. Thank you, brother.
JR, thank you. Thank you for doing this, JR. Appreciate it. There goes JR Todd, world champion, funny car racer. Look at that. We kicked Alan Reinhart back in because he didn't make like a final statement. He told us a funny story. It wasn't like a final statement, Reinhart. You got to say something about Scelzi.
Nah, I just wanted to watch and listen. I tell you the thing that really pisses me off. Angel and Caps both look better than they did 30 years ago. And the rest of us are big, fat, dumb, and ugly.
Yes.
No, and hey, Reinhart, you and I are dyeing our hair gray, so we look like we're aging.
I'd have to get some new hair to dye it gray.
Get the Roland Leong hair dye.
All right, Alan, I'm going to kick you out for good. Thank you for doing this, Alan. I appreciate it. Great stuff. And we're going to continue to wind down. Do you have a final thought, Alan? This is it. Last chance.
Nah, I was just going to stay and listen. Because I want to see who else is busting on him. No, Scelzi I have some not quite statute limitation stories yet, so we're going to save those.
Oh, good. Good. Excellent. All right.
That happened on my phone. There we go.
Thank you very much, Alan. Alan Reinhart, who can be heard on WFO Radio on a regular basis. All right, Chad Head. When I asked Gary, do you think, is there somebody that you think should be on the show? And He said you, and he said Brad Hadman. And just so you know, Gary, that Brad was going on a trip and he's doing like a 3-hour drive and he wanted to be on and he said hello and all of those things. It just, the timing was not right. But Chad could make it. Chad, I'm glad you made it. You made it fun. What about this guy, Gary Scelzi? What do we need to know?
Well, the only rock star that hasn't been talked about is Julie. Okay, so let me tell you something. That is an angel of a person, and definitely kept Gary straight, kept me straight, and man, I sure miss seeing her. She's that's one badass lady. Let me tell you what. But I am hoping that your boy Dominic can get that company running, so you can retire and we can fire Tony Pettergon and you can come and show, and we can really have a great show on Fox. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So, I miss this guy. I talk to him, I don't know, once or twice every couple months, and or more. A couple weeks, yeah. And definitely miss seeing him, and I love watching his boys on the show, and talking to his boys about how crazy his dad is, and talking to Gary about how crazy my father is, and we've got a great relationship, and we've had a lot of fun times, and probably got more miles with Gary in a Winnebago motorhome than anybody, and definitely have spent more money at Dairy Queen with Gary than anybody else. We've definitely had some great times, and definitely looking forward to having some more good times as well. So
okay, so Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
Do you really mean Dairy Queen, or is Dairy Queen like code?
No, he means Dairy Queen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dairy Queen.
Unfortunately, he does mean Dairy Queen.
I figured, like, what could Dairy Queen be? No, it really.
Like a blizzard, like we mowed a few blizzards over. Yeah.
Pretty much. It's called the Grill and Chill, and blizzards and Mr. Misty's, and chili dogs, and all that stuff. Right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you don't look.
You gotta eat.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get to look like Gary and I eating Weight Watchers. Okay? It doesn't happen.
He's definitely not on Nutrisystem. That's for certain. All right. Chad, thank you very much. Thank you for joining. Thanks for the fun. I really appreciate it. Great stuff. Obviously, I hope to see you at the track as soon as possible.
Yeah, we'll do it. Right or wrong, we're going to do it.
There you go. All right, Chad, thank you.
Thanks.
There he goes, Chad Head. And that leaves Ron. You guys must center yourselves in your camera.
Yeah, here we go. We're
here
good.
We go. So one of the other names, obviously, Caps, you came up immediately when we talked about it. Clearly, you guys have had fun over the years. And you're still having fun, Ron. But, there's just there's a different energy out there, right? Like, what do we do to get this guy back somehow, some way?
No, he's in a different area. I mean, racing with his kids, I'm always envious. I always tell him. I saw him last year at the World Outlaw Show. Both kids were racing, and we stopped by and said, hey, and it was just cool to see him in his element. It's something I've always been jealous, to be able to race with your kids like that, to have like his wife, Julie, always a part of what he does. And like I said, he was the reason I went to Schumacher's. He's the reason that a lot of stuff I do nowadays, I stop, and if I'm asked or something happens or I get mad about something or anything, I'm usually stop and I'll go, okay, what would Scelzi do right here? Like you really, a lot of people for years were, what do you do for a living? You drag race. John Force. Well, now a lot of times it's Gary Scelzi. Any other motorsports. Try to get Boyer on, Scelzi, by the way, and Smoke on today. They just couldn't do it. They were traveling. They wanted to get on, but they will do it again some other time. But yeah, Scelzi just is a big part of me. Left what I do when Scelzi left, and a lot of us just, God, we miss him so much. It was so much fun to get up in the morning. I can tell you, whatever year it was, we battled down to the end of the year. I think 05, yeah. 05. And we had the Brute car, and Ed McCulloch was my crew chief, and him and Zippy, and we ended up winning Vegas and put us in position going into Pomona with a chance to win my first championship back then. And our trailers were connected, literally connected. You could walk through them. And any advice I ever needed, I walked right into Scelzi's business, contract, whatever it was, he always helped me. And I'll just remember battling, waking up Sunday morning, and I think we were almost tied for points going into Sunday morning back then. And to wake up Sunday morning in Pomona at the end of the year is like no other. You dream as a kid to have that position to win a championship like that. And here I am battling the guy that's my mentor, my teammate, and all that, and have Ed McCulloch, who loved him as well, have Zippy, who loved it. We just all got along great. And here we are battling for a championship. And I'll never forget, I mean, we woke up Sunday morning, he didn't change. We had breakfast. He still joked. He still pinched me in the ass like he always did when I wasn't looking. Everything was the same. And it was just fun to go through that day, which could have been the most stressful day. And it was still, he reminded me that you got to have fun. We get to do something that's the coolest job in the world, barring probably the 2 astronauts going to get shot up into space tomorrow. It's probably the coolest job in the world. And he always reminded you, we get to wake up and go drag racing. And now John Force will come over and he'll say it, but John Force learned it from Scelzi. Like he made it fun, man. And just so much fun. So, yeah, I'm glad you put this together, Joe. Gary, so much fun watching the kids. They're so much a part of you, and it's just a blast. And we live through you, and we love you. You know, when you show up at the pit area, it's like the winds are coming through. It whispers, Scelzi's in the pit area, and then you wait. And if you don't come by, I get upset. Like, who's he hanging out with? It could be more important. And I'm sure his phone blows up. But the fans, more than anything, I posted this on my fan page, I promise you, because anything I post, whether it's me carrying you down in the rickshaw when I lost my bet down the Pomona track, 1/4 mile, by the way, when I lost that bet, the fans, whenever I post something, the fans go nuts. It's 50,000 views, and it just goes crazy because they miss you and they love you. And it's just, it's got to be so cool to be Gary Scelzi, and we love you for it.
Well, I didn't know it was that cool until now, but you're a hell of a salesman. Well,
did you buy all that?
Anything. It's Caps. It's always been you. It'll never be anybody else but you. And I love you and your wife and your kids. There's nobody better. And I don't have to say it, but you were the baddest fucking. Oops. So you got about the baddest farter out there. That he's a 080 guy no matter what. And when he needs to, he's an 040 guy. He'll rip your heart out. And you've always been a champion. I'm glad you won the championship because you never were not a champion. And I've said that before. And I love you with all my heart. And I will be there to see you the next drag race I go to, I promise.
Awesome.
There you go.
Joe, thanks for setting this up, man. That's so cool.
Thank you for doing it. No, thank you, Ron. I appreciate it. And just so everybody knows, Ron Capps, Ron Tobler, Wine Night. It's still in the archive. You can go back and watch. Definitely worth watching. Ron, thank you for making the time. People don't realize, like, you're on like a, you're on a vacation. You're on a trip. You're doing fun things with the family, right? And you made some time for us, so thank you.
I'm in Sacramento. We're getting in the car now. We're heading down to Fresno to Piccadilly Inn. And we're coming to Scelzi. We're coming to pick you up at the shop. And we're taking you to Piccadilly. We're taking you to Piccadilly because I hear everything's open in Fresno.
Oh, I'm ready to go. I'll meet you in Chowchilla.
Yeah.
Capps, thank you so much.
You got it, man. See you guys.
There he goes, Ron Capps, and that leaves us. Here we are. Okay, what's up with the Piccadilly Inn? I don't know the inside joke. Come on.
I put all the racers up whenever we did this charity dinner, and I don't know how, but it's still standing, Joe. And it's been there for years. It's if you ever come to Fresno, we'll put you up at Piccadilly Inn, and you'll have a good time.
That's awesome.
This couldn't have been. I was excited to do it, but I'm over the moon right now. I just feel so loved, and I just enjoyed myself. I mean, I just did 20 years of drag racing right now, and those people all have so much meaning to me that it's amazing, and they're just great people. And there's a few more. Larry Dixon was one of them. I could go on and on. Corey Mack. I mean, I wish I could. If I could make a list, it'd be a long one.
Well, exactly. I want you to know I reached out to some people. I couldn't reach out to every single person.
No, I know.
Some of them are watching, and I just want them to know, like, if I didn't reach out to you, I'm sorry. This came together pretty quick, right, Gary?
Yeah, it did like Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good. It was great.
So I'm happy that you had fun. I really appreciate you doing it. But what's the moral, Gary? You got two boys chasing a career in motorsports, which we know that's crazy in and of itself, right? To just go after a career in motorsports, but they're winning races. They're showing talent. They're doing well. They're moving to asphalt. That's where the money is. So you're managing that. You've got a business that's going real well. We want you in drag racing somehow, some way, even just to be out there. So what's the moral of it all? Sum it up.
The short amount of time I was there, I'm blessed by what I learned, who I met, and friends that I'll take with me forever. And I don't know. I do want to wish Courtney Force congratulations, her and Graham Rail, for the new baby that's coming. And Ashley does a fantastic job with all the media stuff. I know that John couldn't find his way, but I got to give John a call. And Brittany, you're kicking ass, and you got Grubby over there. They're some of my favorite, that whole family. I still watch you guys. I don't call you much, but I love you, and I watch you. And Joe, this was great. That's all I can tell you.
Well, thank you for that. I did last second, right? Sending texts to various people like Ron, trying to get people on here. Schedules are tough, but we had Force on yesterday. It was a big week on WFO Radio podcast. And we had Force yesterday, and he heard you were coming on, and he had the best things to say as well. Obviously, there's this great friendship and mutual respect. But the next time he's coming on, I got to ask him about that airplane story.
God, yes. It'll be good.
Well, he promised, get this. So this is the happy hour show. And it's not for everybody, as you know, but it fits right. Gary Scelzi very well. And he asked me, why haven't I been invited on the happy hour show? And I put in an awkward situation. I was like, well, you're kind of like fitness guy now, and I don't know. And so he's like, no, man, I'll be good on that show. So I was like, all right, in coming weeks, we'll have you on. When John, assuming he does, agree to come on the happy hour show, will you call in and bust his chops?
I will.
All right.
I've got a million stories that can be told with John Force.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Gary, Absolutely. Thank you so much. Tremendous career, great success, 4 championships, but that's not even really what it's about. It's about how you affected so many people with your passion and your fun and your ability to support the sport through your personality. Thank you for doing it, and we can't wait to, we're wishing your boys great success and good luck, and thank you for coming on.
Great. Thank you, Joe. And you call me next time. I'm ready. I'll do anything.
Oh, I got you. No, I got you. Thank you very much, Gary.
All right. See you guys. Love you.
There he goes, Gary Scelzi. And there we are. What do I say? What do we do about this? I ask you to subscribe. WFO Radio Podcast. This is what we do. We try to create big moments. We try to do good things on this show. Love drag racing. Been following the sport crazily since I was a young person. My dad bringing me out to Miami, Hollywood, watching Daryl and Jerry Gwynn and Don Garlitz, and just going to every Gator National since 1980, and started a podcast and started a show, and this is the show, and here we are. And so whenever we can create a moment and do something great, Angel, Caps, Chad, JR, amazing. It's unfortunate the people who wanted to be a part of this, I don't want to say who because they're busy, but they wanted to be a part of it, and it just didn't quite work out. But bottom line is, hopefully we will continue to do this as long as possible. And there will be other weeks and other shows. So thank you as listeners. I really appreciate you. I encourage you to subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, like our Facebook page, YouTube, click the bell, all that stuff. You know what it's all about, And we do have great sponsors, people who made it possible, the people who literally make it possible, like Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, Frank Atlanta Hawley. They have a program where you can drive a dragster. Go to frankhawley.com and find out more information. And Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. Marvin Rodak, RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com, hot sauce, spice rub, all that stuff. But it's gourmet coffee. I'm trying to tell you, it's better than what you're drinking. You'll love it. It's great. It's amazing. Simple as that. And samtech.edu. Steve Brenwald creates our graphic arts. I am WFO Joe. You can follow me on various social media channels. NitroFishRacing.com, 20% off, WFO 20. They got a lot of cool shirts on NitroFishRacing.com, including the Jason Line retirement shirt, the WFO Radio t-shirt, Erica Enders championship t-shirt, WFO 20 promo code is going to get you 20% off. Why would you not do that? Why would you not save 20% off on any of their shirts? Crazy stuff. I would do it before they realized they made a big mistake. That's what I would do if I was you. But yes, definitely subscribe on our YouTube channel, which is hurting for certain, but we're trying to dig it out. And everywhere we can, you can subscribe to us. And just like that, it's Friday, everybody. Thank you so much, Gary Scelzi. You were great. Ron Capps, J.R. Todd, Chad Head, Angel, Alan Reinhart, who joins us every week on WFO Radio. Did I get everybody? Daryl, Gwen, DG. Thank you so much. And now it is the weekend. SpaceX tomorrow. Let's hope it goes off. American astronauts going to space from American soil on an American craft. That's worth us watching. I'm going to play golf tomorrow for the first time. Speaking of which, where is it? I mentioned WFO Radio t-shirts. We do have the WFO masks. Patreon.com/WFO Radio. If you support the show directly, you get a mask. And then I'll just start giving them out to everybody because that's what I do. WFO stickers. Send to this address. A self-addressed stamped envelope. P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida, 33084. And I'll fill it with stickers because I want you to have our stickers. And I want you to promote us. I want you to rock it, baby. Rock it. Final comments. Let's see what people have got. Keith, you will subscribe to the YouTube channel. Yeah, please do, even though Facebook works just as good. Daryl says, I hate that I missed it. Everybody says that. You didn't miss it. It plays over and over again on Facebook. Start a watch party. You can watch it whenever you want. Have a great round tomorrow. Yeah. If I break 120, I'll be super happy. I want your Christmas tree. Not happening. Scott, thank you for the warning on Facebook jail. Appreciate it. Randy Gee. Is it G or Gee? I think so. Joe Morrison, it was spectacular. Yes, it was. Thank you very much. Thank you, Eric. Spider-Man McBride was out there? I know. Amazing stuff. All right, everybody. That's going to do it. Thank you so much. Thanks to Gary Scelzi. Thanks to everyone. We'll see you next week. WFO.